Hello, my name's John Adelot, and today I'm going to show you a little bit about adjusting color on very, very low saturated images. Things shot in low light, but this actually works in quite a few things. But when you have one that has very low contrast and low saturation like the image before us, this is adjusting the color contrast is probably a much better way than using saturation. Now, anytime I touch any of the controls, I'm here in Lightroom. If I go like this, okay, I'm saturating the darker part of my image, but I'm unsaturating the lighter part of my image. Because as you move exposure up higher, things get less saturated. As you move them down, they get more saturated. In this case, I got to go 100% on contrast, and I can move the highlights up 100 and the shadows down 100, okay? And the whites, well, I move those up a little bit to at least hit the edge there. There, I'm hitting the edge. And the blacks, I can move those down a little bit till I'm hitting the edge there, right there. And I still have to put my saturation, when I move it up to 100, it's looking pretty sad, and I maybe have to shift my color off to the right a little bit here, okay? And so that's about the best I can do in Lightroom. And it's not bad at all. But let me go ahead and reset this, okay? And I'm just gonna go ahead and click on this and go edit in Photoshop. It can be, version 5 or 5.5, anything since then. They all had lab color in them. And lab is kind of unique because the color is separated from the lightness. So you have 3 channels in lab. You have the lightness channel, and then you have the A channel, which is magenta, green, and then you have the B channel, which is yellow, blue. So to get to lab, you go to edit. Don't go over here, image mode. Don't do that. Go to edit, convert to profile. That way it remaps everything you have right over to Lightroom. Make sure you use intent as relative color metric. And then hit OK. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a curve layer. And I can see that I can move my lightness in quite a bit, right in like that, and like this, get myself a little bit of a, maybe a little bit of a blast here. Move this over here because I've got a dark area in there, and get a little bit of a curve, and of course, these 2 center points are contrast. This would be whites, blacks, shadows, highlights, moving it all over, okay? It just something to get a pretty good looking black and white. I'm going to come to the A channel. And remember the center point right here, that keeps everything neutral. If I move this one over like this, okay, and I can see my curve there, so I know I can go a long ways. And of course, that's red, but I'm going to move it back to that center point now. So we're crossing the center right there. Okay, and we're back to, somewhere neutral there. And I'm going to do the same thing with the yellow-blue. First, you can move the other side first, but I'm just happen to move the yellow side. And this is a pretty extreme move that I'm making here. Okay, okay, now I moved it back a little bit because it was too blue, and I just did color correction right there. You can see that. And you can see how that color's popping out over here. and everything else. Okay. Now I'm going to go right back to my lightness channel, and I see that I maybe want to move this up a little bit and move this over up a little higher like that. Okay. Now I'm pretty good right there. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just flatten that for now. I'm going to go back over here to the channels. I can just take the lightness. And I want to do is filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. I want about 300, maybe a little more. 300 is pretty good. 0.3, that's good right there. Now that's a lot of sharpening, but if I had color information, it would be too much, just too much sharpening. But seeing it's just a lightness channel, there's no color information at all. It's a very good way to sharpen, and it makes for a nice crispy. To get out of here, edit, convert to profile. I use Pro Photo RGB, okay, and then we're done. So. And, of course, file, save. Now, we can compare the two. The time it took is probably about equal doing it both ways, because it doesn't take very much longer to do this in Lab than it did to do it in Lightroom. But the results, especially in the higher values of stuff, because when you raised up your contrast and your whites and your highlights, it desaturated them. And trying to get it back with the saturation command is, it's pretty hard. And so anyway, you be the judge. It's just another way of adjusting color that has some advantages in certain situations. So anyway, bye for now. Keep on shooting. Bye-bye.